Hey there, what is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Just wanted to give you an update on where things are at. I've been working on some bug fixes over the last few days, making some tweaks, discovering some more issues that I didn't expect to encounter with the Paradex API. So been working through those while I continue running the strategy in test mode here. And so probably the biggest issue that I ran into over the past few days that I haven't seen before is that part of the Paradex API for subscribing to WebSocket requests and making any sort of GET request through the REST interface, you need a JWT token in order to basically authenticate the request. So if you're connecting to a WebSocket and you are looking to get any data that is specific to your account, so like account balances, order status updates, fills, stuff like that, you need to submit a JWT token with that. And I've seen this before. I just haven't had these two scenarios happen at the same time. So occasionally the the REST request to get the token will fail, and I've had that happen before. And so I had to make some adjustments so that the API will then or the algo will basically retry getting the token again, and it'll retry a number of times before it just finally gives up and says, okay, the web service must be down or something like that. But occasionally, every once in a while, the initial request will time out for whatever reason, and then it will try again and it will succeed. What I haven't had that happen is the WebSockets all get disconnected at the same time. Then when they reconnect, they go attempt to get their JWT token, and that request then fails. And so I had a number of threads all basically hammering my REST client, and that particular call wasn't set up to be thread safe. And so that kind of blew up the portion of the code that was attempting to connect to the WebSockets, and now the WebSockets reconnected, and then all of a sudden the algo's without any data, order history data, fills, account balances, all that stuff. And so it's just flying blind. And then it's not placing any orders, but it's also just letting the current positions just sit out there and not make any adjustments to the existing orders that had already been put out there. So anyway, I had to shut the system down, make some adjustments to that. Hopefully that takes care of the issue. I haven't seen it again, but that's one thing I've been working on. And then the other thing I've been working on is trade reporting, and kind of wanting to get really nailed down is like, okay, what is the system making or losing per trade? What is it making on rebates? And just kind of being able to aggregate stuff on a per trade basis. And thought I had that nailed down, but I was hoping to present some results, but I noticed some bugs in the data, and so I'm gonna have to go back and figure out what's going on with that code there. But anyway, needless to say, the system is still struggling badly on strongly trending days and even moderately trending days. So a day like today, where it pretty much just took off from midnight here. Really not much in the way of pullbacks. We had a small one here and a moderate size one here, and today was a Fed announcement day, and then the market just took off right after that. So basically, the good thing about that I'm noticing about this is it's definitely doing a much better job of managing the inventory. It's not maxing out the inventory even on a strongly trending day like today, but still it is not making any sort of money, and unless the trading is range bound. So I can show you some stats here as well. Oh, and the other thing too I wanted to say that I tweaked a bit is the trade flow indicator. So the Binance trade flow data that I had coming in, I initially had it set up with a threshold of 3, meaning like it would trigger a strong selling event when the selling volume got to three times the buying volume, or extreme buying when the buying got to three times the selling volume. And after looking at the data, it wasn't really statistically significant that the price like followed the strong buying signal. So I decided to like bump that up to 5x. So basically, if the uh, the volume of the buy side orders gets up to five times that of the sell side orders, what does that look like? So why don't we jump into just how the strategy's been doing overall the past week or so, and let me throw the results on here. So obviously, nothing impressive at all. Actually, we're close to hitting our daily threshold today of -3%. It was down 1% yesterday, which yesterday was a fairly strong trending day. I think the market was down almost 3% on the day. So yeah, as you can see, nothing really impressive here. If the goal is 50 basis points, I am far from achieving that, averaging -60 basis points here per day as of the moment. So, kind of like I had alluded to in previous videos, I think I definitely need to incorporate an indicator in here that's really looking at what's going on during the day with the order flow. So, the current Binance order flow that I'm looking at is very, very short term, and I think this is good for just placing new bids and asks and readjusting the bids and the asks that are kind of closest to the market that the algo has placed, but nothing like really beyond that, since I'm using 15-minute data to as the indicator for like volatility. So I think I need to really see if I can use the order flow data on a longer time frame to say, okay, if the buying pressure has been really strong, over the last X hours or something like that, like it likely was today, then I need to be like super, super selective about placing my asks out there, right? Because I'm just getting picked off. I'm putting a bid out there immediately after my ask gets lifted. I'm being pretty aggressive. The strategy is being pretty aggressive with the bids, but the market's just running away from them, right? So I'm going to need to really hone in and see, on days like today, being very selective when I put a new bid out there, because I just don't want to keep throwing bids out there. They get lifted, and then I place an ask that's pretty aggressive, but the market just takes off from it and it doesn't really catch up. So that is kind of what I'm going to be focusing the next week on, is like what sort of tweaks can I make to the data that I'm looking at, and then really like not placing new bids out there on a day like today unless things kind of quiet down. So like in periods like this, for example. But if volatility like spikes up like it did here right around the Fed announcement time, where like the ATR jumped from 400 to 520 in a matter of like 15 minutes, and we saw price move up, almost 1% over that time period, like just hold off on placing any new bids during that time period. Wait for things to calm down a bit, and then like in this market right here, it might be a better time to start placing those bids and asks. So that's going to be one thing to consider. And then the other thing I noticed too is like as the market's moving up and my asks are getting lifted like they are here, and then I place a new bid, it's going to take a while to retrace these, and I do have a time to live set on these orders. So if these orders don't get executed by a certain time period, they're going to get readjusted to account for the new market conditions. But I noticed that could be like an hour or 2 hours before that happens, and in the meantime, I'm missing out on picking up all um, these new orders that I could be placing, where the algo is basically hoping for a retracement, and really it's just in a declining volatility period until the Asian market opens here. So I'm basically like the markets, the algo's configured for kind of this high volatility environment, but really it's moved to this low volatility environment, and it's just going to be kind of just really not doing anything while, until Asia opens here in about an hour or so. So anyway, that's what's kind of some of the things I am contemplating with changes here to the strategy. Now, the interesting thing too I'll show is with the 5-to-1 volume adjustment on the trade flow indicator from Binance. If you were just to purely trade that and not have to take commissions into account, this is what you would see, basically buying when the trade flow hit extreme buying and just following that, and then selling once it went back to neutral. So yeah, so the thing here is, so you're seeing definitely there's something here, and I ran some stats on it, and definitely looks statistically significant as far as average positive trade. Uh, Now, definitely not enough profit per trade to make it worthwhile unless you're not paying any commissions at all. So average profit for, I can make this bigger a little bit. I don't know if this is readable or not on the video, but average profit is basically $8 total, $7 on the long side, 9 on the short side. So, if you're paying 3 basis points commission each way, that's like $60 round trip that you're going to have to overcome. So obviously, if you're paying that much commission, you're not going to be able to profit off of this. But the other interesting thing that I want to see is like how long are these trades in effect for? So if you hit extreme buying, like how long does it take before you go back to neutral on average? And so it's roughly about a minute that we're seeing here. So what I'm thinking is one thing I can incorporate in this to make sure I'm not just getting totally blown away when things go bananas is, if we hit extreme buying, just either remove my bid, my assuming I'm short inventory, remove my bid, and just wait for things to calm down, and don't place a new one out there until it moves back to neutral, right? Because there's no sense in like letting my bid get hit when buying just goes crazy and then the market takes off and it's like moved up, $100, $200 by then. So that's one thing I'm looking at incorporating. Um, and then let me show a histogram of the distribution of the orders here and or the returns here. So this is very similar to what I saw previously when I was using the 3x volume on the Binance order flow. Is except on this one, it's the average is actually positive, whereas previously it was negative. But I'm seeing the same sort of thing where you got a really fat tail on the right side here. The biggest loss is like around negative $100, whereas you're seeing like quite a few observations where it's $100+. So definitely skewed more towards the right side here. So I mean, there in theory could be something even tradable just off of this, but I think it's going to be a good indicator to use just to back off if I'm short already. Remove my bid if we go extreme buying mode, or vice versa. So anyway, it's kind of what I've got cooking right now. I still have on my plate to incorporate the order book imbalance from Binance. I still got the order book imbalance in place from Paradex, but still want to see what it looks like coming from Binance. The other interesting thing too, like I noted in a previous video, is we were seeing 80-90 million dollars in Bitcoin volume per day on Paradex here. Today it's up a bit at 43 million, but a couple days ago it was down as low as 25 million. This was like during the week. It wasn't like a Saturday or Sunday. So the volume dropped by quite a bit this week. And probably just because, uh, crypto and just the stock market in general has been very uh, afraid of just current events and politics and stuff like that and what's going on. So people are kind of on edge, kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here. So, but yeah, it's looking like we're approaching my daily stop loss here. So that's the other thing too. I'm going to need to figure out is like, do I want to keep throwing $50 every day into this account to keep it running, or do I want to code a kind of paper trading account that uses the live data to simulate fills since testnet is shit. So there's like no trading in testnet, but they don't have a paper trade account set up. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, comments, let me know what you guys are working on. I'd love to hear from you. I got a few people comment saying that they're doing their own trading and forex and looking at crypto. And I had somebody send me some pretty cool looking order flow tool, but unfortunately it doesn't run on Mac. You gotta have Parallels or some VM maybe to be able to run it on Mac. It's a native Windows application. So, but I'd love to hear from you guys what you're working on. If you have any ideas, if you've got your own market making algo that you got in the works, well, yeah, we'd just love to collaborate with anybody else that's working on this or just kind of talking about the markets in general and what's going on. So, anyway, hope you guys are having an awesome week this week, and I will talk to you guys real soon. See you later. Bye.